Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for Monday, February 10th. We have the continuation of case number 1, which is 101 Bedford Street. So we had the first hearing on this on January 13th, and at that time the members present were myself, Mr. Andrews, Mr. Blas, Mr. Curran, and Mr. Kimball, as well as Mr. Jones. And I designated all but Mr. Jones to sit on the case. Mr. Curran is not here tonight, but since Mr. Jones was present at the last hearing, he can sit on the case. So the panel that will be voting on the case now is Mr. Jones, Mr. Andrews, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen. So we continued the hearing. We raised a few questions, and the applicant is with us tonight. So just to, again, identify yourself for the record and explain what changes have been made and what other responses you have to the questions that we raised.
Michael Delpre Jr., owner of Last Resort Enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see before you, the drawings here, Mr. Garvey had made some notable changes, little upgrades, so you can visibly see where the fence line is going to be. He added some drainage for the building, moved around the employee parking away from the power lines, as you requested. I guess he couldn't be present here tonight because of another meeting at another town.
Where are his priorities?
Yeah, you know, from what I see, the changes were all adequate as to what you required. I didn't see any red flags,
Okay.
So to speak. It does look pretty good. They were just the minuscule changes, obviously.
Okay. And yeah, I see. So now there's a couple of employee parking just outside the utility easement between the N-Star and Rockland Waterworks easements. Some more employee parking between the building and the fence near the street. Roof dry wells behind the building. He put a dumpster. I think we had asked about that. So there's a dumpster just beyond the building. Look at my notes here. Okay. Okay, and we'd also asked about the building, just what you had in mind for what it would look like, or
it's notably going to look exactly like what Tracy White had put up down the street on the opposite side of those two buildings. Obviously not as big with the size differentiation right there, but you're looking at the same exact type, style, color. It's going to fit the neighborhood nicely.
Right. Yeah, I thought after the hearing, I said what I should have said to you was, what I want to be sure is that you're not going to take the old DPW barn, buy that, and move it over here.
I thought about that in the discussion.
I said, that's what we don't want to see.
I didn't get to the meeting soon enough to buy it off. So you lucked out. No, it's an investment on my part, and it's just going to be everything brand new.
Okay. Let me just, you can sit down if you want. Whichever you prefer. I'll just go over some of the things that we, and I'll go out to the members of the board and to the public, but just some of the issues that I had in terms of what should we state for conditions. I think one question was if we wanted to put some kind of limit on the number of dumpsters and containers that you have on the site. we want.
That pertains to stuff, anything which is a container that goes in and out every day, and it pertains to a trailer or some sort of a storage box that I might use for my own facility. Correct?
Yeah. We wanted,
Yeah.
some limit, again, as I mentioned last time. If you were to sell this business, and somebody else operates, whatever we put in this decision, we want to have apply in the future, but at the same time, we want to, accommodate
Yes.
what you expect to have there.
Well, as you know, some of them are much smaller than others.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a number of up to 20 to 25 smaller containers, and they'll take up probably 4 parking spots. So the number value shouldn't scare you as much as the physical value.
Yeah.
That's why I was going to ask for around 250. It's actually a bigger area than when you see it on paper. It looks different than when you actually go visit the property and you see physically what you can put there. And I'm not saying 250 that I want 250 there as a normal operating procedure. I just don't want to limit myself, like you said, if I grow at some point. The way I operate my business, not every container I own stays on that it goes to other businesses.
Mm-hmm. Do we have let's see, we've got we do have the edge of storage area. So we have a sort of defined area.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, anything would have to be contained within that area. Well, I'll see how. Rob, I guess I'll ask you. Perhaps is just, do you have a concern in terms of? Is there issues of? Yeah, or just that there be aisles or what concerns are there from a public safety point of view?
My concern, Mr. Chairman, this plan is showing, as I tried to count out the best I can, about 37 dumpsters on the plan, indicated by the rectangles, and I'm assuming those are to scale, roughly. If Kyle drew them, I'm sure that it fits close to scale.
What's there? It's not always what's going to exist there.
Yep. So my concern would be, to your point, John, one of the notations is the owners to submit plans to the utility company showing proposed use over easements. And as you know, an easement is an easement for them to access and use the space and get at their equipment. I don't know what 250 dumpsters would look like, and if that would block, the right to use that easement. Like you said, if there aren't aisles or something within there. I know dumpsters are temporary, they're a temporary use, and they are going to move around. But I don't think it should be so congested that the utility company can't get in there on an emergency. I think that would be my only concern.
Yeah. And, again, I'll look at it in terms of the easement, as long as they're movable too. That's, if you can't put a fixed building, but.
Going on what Rob said, we have to be able to walk around them too, so you're looking at least a couple of feet between them. So there is safe access between them.
I think you need more than a couple. I think you need to drive a vehicle.
Yeah, because don't you need to drive a truck in there to put...
No, I mean just in general access, of
right.
Human access. And the power lines, they're overhead. None of the poles are actually in the ground there. So in the event of them needing to access the property, it would be highly unlikely to just pull brand new wire over there.
I think we're talking more about emergency.
Yeah, like a plane came down and took out the wires. Of course, then you're talking about something out of the scope of God only knows. Yeah. Of course, we'd be on call moving things like crazy, trying to, the fire department would be dragging things around.
And I think that if you do decide to go forward with this, I think a good requirement would be that there is contact information on the fence, emergency contact information, that if it was needed, that they would have the numbers to call and things along those lines.
Okay.
I'd like that too, because I'm not sure who I would call. I don't even have that information.
Well, they'd be calling you to move dumpsters, is my point.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
I mean, if the numbers are too high, I just kind of gauged in my head what a potential number may or may not be. It's up to the board.
yeah.
Yeah.
As I say, and you know, I don't know about the board. Raw numbers don't mean as much to me as just okay. I mean, you have to have sufficient dials for you to bring a truck in there to load
Oh,
the
absolutely.
vehicles. So I mean, maybe we stated in those terms that sufficient space for truck access to
Well, I guess
vehicles.
I would have to have my own truck access, and if I didn't, that would be a problem on my part.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's always going to be some sort of truck access,
That's what I'm saying.
which would be mine
You-
and anybody else's too.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just load them all together because then you
No.
can't get at them. So
No.
let me think about that. Okay. The building was an issue, the fence, and I think we just spoke of that as being a solid fence. And the fence, so the fence runs along, property line runs out along 81 Bedford Street to the south, all the way back towards the rear, and then connects to the fence from 135. Looks like that's what it does there. Okay. All right. All right. And we're going to have a condition requiring that any repairs occur, automotive repairs occur inside the building with the doors being closed.
Correct.
Hours of operation, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. No municipal solid waste or hazardous waste in the containers.
Yeah, correct.
I think we said a 7-foot fence. That's,
Correct.
yeah, okay. All right. Let me go to members of the board then for their comments and questions and response to the plan. Mr. Jones, anything?
How many dumpsters do you have now, containers now, total?
Do we actually own?
Yeah.
Roughly 120.
Okay. So if you were saying 250 would be your ideal number, so you'd have to just kind of double your business.
Well, like we said before, the last thing I want to do is shoot myself in the foot. I want to allow myself some room to grow. It's not going to happen all at once. It was more, the number was more just a safety thought of where should I start. It was a guesstimate on my part.
And then looking at the plans here, are the plans to keep all the containers stored to what would be the left side of that driveway? And then the only thing that would be on the right side would be just the building there?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have for questions.
Okay, Mr. Andrews?
No, I have no question.
All right. Mr. Kimball?
Just a couple of questions, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I like the idea of the fence along the street to give us some protection from the visibility of the lot. And you're talking potentially 200 containers. Would it be prudent to put into the order of conditions that the containers themselves can be no more than 1.25 acres, given an area? Because a lot of the area is wooded right now, and if we gave, say, a acre and a quarter, that's about 60,000 square feet. That would give us approximately 200 big dumpsters. It's just, and that would keep it in a particular area too.
Well, the plan shows edge of storage area.
Right, okay.
So I certainly, we could and should say that all containers will be located
Then that would,
within the edges, within the storage area shown on the plan.
Well, I think the problem, I think what Mr. Kimball just brought up is the edge of the storage area doesn't show your delineation off the lot lines or area as to the size of the storage area. So there's lines on there, but how do we know where it is in the size of the storage area, other than speculating, looking at the plan?
Is this showing what's currently the area that I know it wasn't paved, but you use as special material?
Correct.
Is that what this is showing on the plan?
I believe so. You're gonna see containers
Yeah.
probably, once the fence is actually put in place, you're gonna see containers probably right up to the fence.
I mean, because it's not, on the south side, it's not extending into the Brockton Waterworks easement because it can't do that. And on the north side, it's plenty far from the property line, without seeing a measurement there. It's only on the, really the
But from
rear side, it's not clear what the dimension is there.
for enforcement purposes, there is no dimension.
Okay,
So that's why if you put a number on dumpsters within that area, you're not gonna go over that.
okay. So what, we could do this, we could, because he's only got, like, it's 15 feet off the street property line to the fence and, some distance beyond that. We could say, ask that Kyle Garvey provide just go out there and get the dimension,
Physical measurement.
the physical measurement, and he could,
Yeah, he'd have to have some sort of delineation somewhere on something.
yeah, and provide that, he could modify the plan and without coming back to us and give the building inspector a plan showing
Mr. Chairman,
the
could we
distance.
put bounds and marks in it? Put granite markers on the corners, and then the building inspector can at least try to find them. That would make
I
it
don't know if it'd have to be granted, but at least mark it in some way, the current, so again, somebody in the future doesn't just make it bigger.
Yes.
Ask Kyle to put markers in and give dimensions and provide a revised plan to the building inspector, not to the board, that shows the location and the dimensions of the area. Does that address it?
That would work.
Okay,
But again, I think you should also have a number on dumpsters. That's just my opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that at least gives us, I think, more comfort if,
It stays within the area.
yeah,
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
okay. Do you have what do you, those of you I've asked already, what do you feel about the number, whether does the number matter as long as we know where the limitation on the area that they're going to be placed?
Yeah, I think there should be limitations, at least noted, so like was said, that it can't be expanded on by
Right.
the next person, whoever the
Right.
next person is. And you don't stack any dumpsters on top of each other, or containers.
Okay. We'll put that in, no stacking. Just,
For state.
Has an intention of that.
How many dumpsters do you own right now?
I own 120.
10%. I think my opinion, you board do what you want. I think it's a reasonable thing to say, we'll give you 10%, we'll do 132 dumpsters. If you want to increase it, come back to the board and ask for permission.
yeah,
That's just me. That's you people decide what you want.
yeah. I'd
Well, relatively speaking,
I'd rather have, I'd rather not come back to the board for something that's a fairly trivial thing. As long as I think, the way I look at conditions like this is, okay, what's the purpose of the condition? That's what we really want. And the purpose is, number one, make sure it's limited to the area that's been set aside for it. Number two, something indicating that enough space to be left for maneuvering vehicles within it. It's a safety issue. It's the only thing
No, I
I'm.
understand. So I guess my next question would be to the applicant is if he's got 120 dumpsters, would you intend to have another company's dumpsters put on that lot that are not your dumpsters?
That's actually a good question. Actually glad you brought that up. If there was a stipulation put on the building, no subletting, which is perfectly fine. I need the building all for myself. If there's ever a potential, I work with a lot of my competition. Would there be an issue of me letting my competition put, if they can't bring into a jam, they needed to put a handful of containers in a corner with mine somewhere?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's, you're talking, because you could lease some dumpsters, so first, they don't belong to you,
Correct.
but you're using them, and,
Well, I wouldn't be using them.
no, I'm just saying that,
You lease them for a dollar.
yeah,
Yeah, it's how the property's used is,
Again,
a different,
I'm just throwing
if it was
this
a
out.
different, totally, if it's a different type of business and it's gonna mean, I don't know, something where people are dropping off and taking containers out of there more often than would be associated with your kind of business, that's a change in use. And that, to me would have to come back to us. But if you're borrowing containers from somebody else, or you're letting somebody else put containers on, as long as it's within the area that we specified, I don't have an issue. I mean, maybe, 200 containers would be a good number. Something
That's
like
why I
that.
think the number's more important.
Yeah, okay. So maybe make it 200, which still gives you plenty of room to grow.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Kimball?
No, I'm all set,
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Blas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of my concerns was the edge of the storage area and delineating that, and how are we going to get the dumpsters to stay within that, and that's been addressed. I didn't particularly care how many dumpsters were there, so long as we stayed within the storage area, and that's been addressed. A couple of questions. Is the Brockton Waterworks easement, would it be, is anything allowed? Would it be wise for us to put a condition that no storage containers be placed on the easement? On the water easement?
We certainly can do that because, in fact, you can't, right? I mean, you basically.
I've been in contact with Brockton Utilities and the Brockton DPW, and they voiced how serious they were about their easement, and
Right.
promised them that obviously the fence line entering the property.
Right. We're just giving the building commissioner a little bit of enforcement power.
Yeah.
Where if you go with Brockton Water, that might be a civil action and be more difficult. I just think we should make it a condition. I want to point out to the applicant, Mr. Garvey's plan shows a 50-foot frontage and a 25-foot side setback. Well, that's the minimum requirement of this zoning area. So perhaps we should consider a little bit of leeway there by a foot or two, because if this, when they do their as-built, if you're 49 3/4, you're in trouble.
They're moving.
You're going to move that building. If you're in Rockland, you're going to move that building or tear it down. So I'm just.
You're right. Yes, you are. Well, I guess.
So I'm just thinking that might be an idea for us to give you an extra, allow that building to be 51 or 52, 26 or 27, that kind of thing.
That's a good idea.
Well,
just in case.
As long as we don't encroach on the waterworks easement. I see there is a concrete apron that looks like the plan is right to it. You may have to.
Brockton Utilities didn't have a problem with that as long as it was away from their easement. They forewarned me that if there was ever, say a natural disaster, a water main happened to rupture, whatever's near it is probably going to go bye-bye. And I said, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You'll have to cross that bridge when you get there. And, you know, if they see an issue with it and they're worried about their water main, I looked right at them and I said, well, if you're worried about the age of your water main, maybe we should get some federal funding together so you could start replacing it. But that would be the only thing that makes sense in my head. There's Route 18 heavy haul traffic that goes right over their water main 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Which is more substantial than what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. So, Mr. Blasey, you might have had the numbers going the other way. You're saying, like, right now, the side setback to 81 Bedford is shown as 25 feet. That we should give them leeway to it to be like.
Well, I guess there's two ways to do it. Allow them to move it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Compared to what the plan says.
Yeah.
Or we allow them to leave it the way it is and then give him a foot or two of latitude.
Create a variance almost.
Well, yeah.
Well, it'd have to be a
that would
variance.
a side variance and a front variance too.
Yeah.
For maybe for 24 inches or something like that.
Yeah. So maybe, again, the plan is as shown, but if necessary, the building could be, the side setback could be reduced, say, to 23 feet, and likewise to 48 feet from the street, just if he has to jiggle it a little bit.
When you start digging, contractors run into,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Right.
You know, so,
And when you're putting it on a slab, that's going to make it a little easier.
correct.
Yeah. Does that sound
Yeah, it does.
appropriate to the...
Then just exactly. Then one last thing, the existing woodland out back. Is there any? That's a good sized piece of property. What's the future of that piece of land?
I believe it's all agricultural from what I understand.
Agricultural, not forest or.
I'm only
It's a cornfield.
dictating, well, it's still just a hayfield
It's a hayfield. Oh, okay.
to a degree. They only came so far towards me. I was understanding from what I heard secondhand that John Honstra was trying to buy that off the Goods family.
But doesn't it belong to your lot?
Yeah, that's,
Oh, I thought you were talking out further.
No, I'm sorry. No, just behind the Ganuzio property.
Oh, that section. Okay,
Yeah.
where it says existing woodland.
Yeah.
The jog to the north.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. It's a wooded area right there.
So would it be fair for us to say that exact existing woodland is to be left undisturbed?
At the moment, yes, I don't have any plans to go.
If we
Okay.
made a condition?
Yeah, because we had talked about that too in terms of the property at 135 that where it's shown existing woodland going down towards Bedford Street between the storage area and that house, that existing woodland is to be maintained as a buffer because you don't have any. And I realize there's an issue of 135 has part of their yard on your property, but that's not. So, yeah, I think we had spoken about that last time to maintain the existing woodland as a buffer to the 135 Bedford.
Okay. Then I don't believe I have anything else. Thank you.
Right. I just want to jot some of this down. And I was going to say that I didn't see the dimensions of the building, but the dimensions are on there. It's 50 by 120. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. Um, So let me go out to members of the public who want to comment on this. Anybody?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
just have your name and address.
Kathy Dunzio. I'm the encroacher on 135.
Right.
So my biggest thing was I didn't get to the last one, so I
Right.
just, the tree line going in between, which Mike and I had talked about before, staying in between. I'd rather that than a fence, and I like the tree lines there. And I actually use Mike in my garage for the service. And I just said I forgot. Oh, my other concern at the time was water, because it's many times that yard is under a foot of water as it is right now. So my biggest thing was we weren't changing the grade or anything too much to flood it over closer to the house. But
Yes.
it doesn't seem like any of that's happened.
No, other than they've already put in material where the, not pavement, but a different type of material that's already there. So I guess if you were going to have any problems.
No, it's.
Otherwise, they're not grading, and the building's at the other end of the property.
Yeah, no, and it's,
So.
yeah, it's wet, but been a lot wetter long before he got there.
Okay. And you see where the fence, well, maybe just show her on the plan. I just want to make sure the way Carl has shown the fence,
I'm getting up. Takes 2 minutes.
Carl has shown the fence tying in.
So this is proposed wooden fence?
Yeah.
You're sending him like?
Actually, I believe this is her fence right here that comes over.
Yeah.
And it just comes in a little bit. And my fence is gonna come along, right along the wood line, that's gonna come to the her fence. Right there.
So this property actually goes to here.
Does that look okay?
Yeah.
Somebody said. We did. For the year.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
fence. All right. Okay, anything further from people? Yeah. I mean, I think just in terms of the building, Mr. LaPrete has just represented the building will be similar in style to the buildings that were approved further to North and Bedford Street. I think, again, we're not the design police, so as long as it's, new and solid, I'm satisfied.
Like a Morton building type.
Actually, we are.
Well, yeah, to an extent, but we're not going to say what color it has to be, Okay, with that, I think I'll close the hearing. So let me list all the conditions that I had down in no particular order, just since I haven't written down. To maintain the existing, what's shown as existing woodland as a buffer between the storage area for the containers and the property at 135 Bedford Street. In terms of the building, any repairs of vehicles are to be made inside the building with the doors closed, so as not to have noise to the outside. Yes,
That's gonna be his own personal vehicle.
right, and only, yes,
Not gonna be an auto repair shop.
so let's specify that's only for,
Internal.
the owner's repair of his own vehicles and containers, whatever, but not for an outside operation. A limit of 200 storage units, all of them to be on what's shown as the storage area on the submitted site plan. The surveyor is to mark the corners of the storage area and measure the dimensions to certainly to the east. Well, let's see.
Give the square footage of the.
Mark the corners. and show the dimensions of the distances to property lines or boundaries on a revised plan to be submitted to the building inspector, not to the board. I think the only spot where there's maybe a question, what is the rear setback, requirement to that rear property? What's the setback requirement here?
For a building?
Oh, well, that's right, it wouldn't even apply. Okay, but we still want to know what the distances are.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, that would only be for a building. All right, so we just need to have so it's really, if Karl marks the edges or corners of the storage area and the measurements within the storage area, if you know the width and the height, the dimensions of the storage area itself, it doesn't even matter so much.
Yeah, he should be able to come up with the square footage of the storage.
Yeah, if he does the dimensions, he can do that. So just provide that on a revised plan submitted to the building inspector.
He's already kind of this.
Yeah. Hours of operation, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. No municipal solid waste or hazardous waste to be within the containers stored on the site, and the containers are to be maintained in a clean condition. I know there's going to be something. Fence to be as shown on the plan, fence to be 7 feet high.
Just clean and empty.
Yeah, empty. Yeah. We'll add that. Owners to provide emergency contact information to to NSTAR and to Brockton Waterworks, and to the building inspector and fire department.
And the plaque and everything.
Yeah.
I can take care of that.
Yeah. Containers are to be located on the site in a way that ensures safe access to them. Just leave it at that. Containers not to be stacked.
Do you want to leave that at the discretion of the fire department?
Yeah, to the satisfaction of the fire department. Let's just put it that way. So if they had an issue, they could say something. On the proposed building, it's to be located as shown in the plan, but if necessary, we would allow up to a 2-foot side variance, meaning from 25 feet to 23 feet, and a 2-foot front setback variance from 50 feet to 48 feet, if necessary. Let's see. No containers are to be stored within the Brockton Waterworks easement. Just to say that. That's all I have. Did I miss anything?
That's plenty.
Hey, may I ask one
Yes.
question?
Yeah.
Sorry. How far was the fence off of the, my only concern is it's Route 18 and I pull in and out of there all day long. How
Oh,
far
it's
is it off the
15
road?
feet, 15 feet.
Because I just want to make sure that I'm going to have room to see.
Where's your driveway?
My driveway is on the, to the right of the house. If I'm looking at it, if I'm looking
Okay.
at the house, it's to the left of the house.
Wait, if you're looking at the house
If
from
I'm looking at
Bedford.
135 from Route 18, it's to the left of the house.
Oh, okay. So the fence is totally on the other side of
Yeah,
you.
no, but it,
She was just wondering how close it was coming to the street.
Yeah, it's 15 feet back, so visually,
Yeah.
If you know where that rock wall is inside that brush.
yeah,
You're gonna be on the inside of the brush.
Yeah,
That's
so
gonna be kind of right.
Okay.
yeah. Because I just, you just,
Oh, I know.
I grew up on Route 18. I
Well-
grew up with a similar type of business.
and actually, I mean, the town, there are regulations, the building inspector can tell you about. If you have a fence, you can't build in such a way that it's locked
That's only on corner lots.
on corner lots.
Only on
Okay,
corner lots.
okay.
That's
But it's
what-
just-
That's my-
This is sufficiently,
As long as if it wasn't gonna be in front of the trees, that's where the
Yeah.
trees, the bushes, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's
Okay.
behind it, it's fine.
all right, anything else? Did I miss anything? All right, so what we're asked for here is site plan approval, but also now the variances from the side and front setbacks. So,
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
okay, moved by Mr. Blas. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Andrews. Any further discussion? Okay.
That was to allow a special permit for the use also, correct?
Oh. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, Rob. And this is also the special permit as specified in the last minutes, which is section 245-4H 2 and 3. Thank you. All right, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Okay, we're all set. Thank you. Good luck with it. Thank you for coming. Good.
Yeah, just everything myself, so we can technically set the roof and comment about the building,
Mr. Talby, reference the date of the revision of the plan. Okay, I think it's that, right? So we've got a hearing on the 24th, which is the Franklin Street property. And then I'm going to discuss dates with the board. We have some more cases that came in, which would probably be March 24th and maybe March 31st. So that's where we are in cases.
I've got a lot of questions coming in on the ADUs. I had them come in on a message today. People want to have their travel trailers hooked up to water and sewer, so this is going to be a very interesting thing. Yeah. Yeah,
But wait a minute, doesn't the law address the use of RVs or portable trailers?
well, it's a temporary use, so
Well, let's put, do we have anything in our town bylaw that says no mobile homes or no?
Yes. Well, we used to.
You can use them temporarily if you have a fire or something like that.
Okay.
And as long
Yeah.
as but here's the thing is, if they're registered, you can park them in your driveway.
Yeah.
So but I don't think.
So I don't think the state.
My thought process is, it's a temporary, living area. It should not be hooked up to water and sewer. It's not a permanent structure. So, but
Yeah, and I'd say the state law doesn't override that. I can't remember if there's something about manufactured homes in the state regulations.
there is, but the manufactured home is different. There's a definition for
right.
recreational vehicle.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting.
I think you still have the right to say no to that.
Yeah, no, I've already said that there was a question on one going in on Mary Ann Drive. I already said no on that one, but I'm just giving you a heads up. The thought process that's coming is going to be interesting.
Just a quick one. The Route 18, kind of across the street from this, down a little bit. I'm hearing that on the other side of Hornstra Farms, like between there and maybe the Mirabella or something like that, potentially putting a big East Bridgewater, putting a big residential development in.
I haven't got anywhere.
You haven't heard anything about that?
No.
So
That's all wood, isn't that all wood?
It's all woods, yeah.
It's woods now. They'd have to go to planning board for a subdivision first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all these Bridgewater.
It's all these Bridgewater, right? But I'm hearing it's big. Apparently, the plan is really big, and they're going to come to Whitman to tie in to water.
Oh, good luck
Or
with that.
no, to sewage. To sewage.
Even gooder luck with that.
I think you're going to find there's going to be a problem just with Whitman's development because Dave LeMay has already said he's counting the gallons.
Yeah.
Which Whitman development?
That's water and sewer department.
Oh, okay.
They're limited to the amount of gallons they can
Sure.
put into the sewer system.
Yeah.
It's, at some point,
All right. I just thought maybe if there was.
yeah, I hadn't heard anything.
Yeah.
Because if you put the MBTA, if somebody puts in 300 units in that,
Yeah, I mean,
20 acres.
town sewage is nice, but if people feel, I mean, there's still a capacity that you can't go over.
Right.
So, they start putting moratoriums on.
Again.
Yeah. So.
All right.
All right, gentlemen.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let me do the minutes and then I'll tell you about the scheduling. So we have here minutes for case number 1, which was the first hearing on 101 Bedford Street, Last Resort Enterprises. So let's see, I guess everybody but Harold Jones should vote on this one.
I make a motion to accept.
Okay, motion by Mr. Kimball, is there a second? Second by Mr. Andrews, all in favor, 4-0 on that one. Case number 2, which was 88 Glen Street. Mr. Jones sat on this one and Mr. Kimball did not. So. Okay, move to approve by Mr. Blas. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Andrews. All in favor? 4-0. And the general minutes, everybody can vote on this one.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Mr. Blas. Second,
I'll second.
Mr. Kimball. All in favor? 5-0 on that one. Okay, so we have, first we've got a hearing on the 24th, February 24th, for the property on Franklin Street. You got the number of that one. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, 2 weeks from today. That's 455 Franklin Street. And then we've got 3 new applications. So 2 which should be fairly simple. Another one might be a little more complicated. So I thought to put the 2 simpler ones on March 24th. One is adding a industrial garage and an existing industrial property on Auburn Street down near Brockton Town Line. And the other is an addition to a property on Jerome Street, residential property that just needs a rear setback variance. That should be fairly straightforward. So I thought putting those 2 on March 24th, and then Steve Egan has submitted an application for what he says is multifamily condominium over 55. This is at 447 Harvard Street, which we, a couple of years ago, approved it's one of these long, deep lots. We approved putting an estate lot there, but I guess they never carried through on that. They never divided it into the 2 lots. So he has some other proposal in mind.
How many units is that?
Doesn't say just on the application I have.
477 Harvard?
447 Harvard.
447.
Yeah.
447, like the-
Anyway, I thought rather than squeezing 3 cases into one night, and maybe that one will take a little longer, go a week later, March 31st, and put that case in the 31st. Okay. So we'll have hearings February 24th, and then March 24th, and March 31st. Okay.
Well, then Mr. Egan, when he originally talked about developing that, he wanted to make condos with single buildings, and that's not allowed. A condo has to be 2. So I'm not sure if he still wants to be individual buildings.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Do you submit plans with?
Yeah, I didn't look at it.
But we haven't. Just haven't. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I took a look at the minute when I saw the address. I went and saw that we had.
If he bought 3 or 4 lots behind different people.
Well, it's just saying. Oh, I see. So yeah, I may have to. He listed several
Lots in here.
lots. Okay, so he may have more than just 447 Harvard Street then.
Right.
Okay. All right, so it's going to be more extensive than that.
Originally, he was gonna have, what, 6 units or 7 units, something like that.
Yeah, because when we considered 447 Harvard Street, part of the argument for that was going to give us two houses on that big property, and otherwise you could run a subdivision road down there and half a dozen. And we said, well, better to have the two.
I think he's planning on having it come around and butt up against the Pine Street Circle.
Okay. So anyway, so it's more. He did list several plots on the application, but I just looked at the 447 Harvard Street. I didn't think that it's actually encompassing. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 lots in the application. I'll make copies of the application and send it out. Anyway, all the more reason to put that on a separate night. Okay, so that's where we are. And the planning board has scheduled a hearing for March 11th on the accessory dwelling unit bylaw. I went to, I don't think I've seen you since then. Hanson had a hearing a couple of weeks ago, and I went to that and picked up a copy of their proposed bylaw, and basically they were in the same situation. They had an existing bylaw which was limited to family members, and so they were facing the same situation we are and trying to address it.
They used a model bylaw, didn't they?
I don't know. I mean, it looked a lot longer than ours, but the state's issued final regulations, but the state has not issued a model bylaw, and frankly, I just assume they don't, because then we could run into like the Cannabis Control Commission, where my way or the highway, So, so that's everything that's going on. Anything else? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So
Second that.
moved by Mr. Blas, seconded by Mr. Kimball. All in favor? 5-0. The meeting is adjourned.